Happy Thursday morning. Welcome in to Robby and Rexrode, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everybody's off to a fantastic start to their day. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, happy Thursday morning to you. What's going on? How we doing?
Nothing. Doing super. Doing awesome. Doing fantastic.
How was that late night tussle between Oklahoma and South Carolina last night?
Yeah, man, what a game. It was cool to see Elijah Campbell. So
sure.
got to see him. You know, he's doing a morning show now too. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that? Okay, I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that, man. That's awesome. So he got to, I guess, see the last game of South Carolina this year, which has got to be a relief. Now he can focus on the South Carolina women's team, which can win it all. The men's team, rough go. But, yeah, that one wasn't great. I wouldn't say it was great games yesterday. Texas Ole Miss was a decent game, a brutal loss for Texas. I still think they're probably going to get in because the bubble, I don't think I've ever seen a worse bubble than this in my life. It's absolutely atrocious, but not a great day of games. The first session, I will say, shout out to BBN. And even some of the people who cover Kentucky were like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, people aren't excited about this team. On Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. It's like, I don't. No. They packed the place. And it was rocky.
They can't help themselves.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage. It's like you're going to follow your cats, during March. So they got that win, which was good for them. And Auburn stays alive. Auburn, looked terrible for a lot of the day. They win, and then everybody else loses basically on the bubble. And it's like, geez, man, Auburn might just be fine. I still think if I was them, I'd try to beat Tennessee today. But, if they do, I think then they're probably in real good shape.
Ian Safar, how we doing? Happy Thursday morning to you. What's going on?
Good morning. Happy Thursday. I'm doing just fine. Thanks. A little chilly out there today, so be prepared. A little bit colder than we have been going on this week. Just watching a little bit of this Josh Pastner interview here. Did you see that, Joe? His little post-game interview about winning. Pretty funny stuff right there. So if you have a minute, maybe you can look through that. But happy Thursday, everybody.
Josh Pastner did what?
He had a little funny post-game thing here. Just a little rant on the sideline with a reporter talking about the win.
There we go.
Oh, okay. No, I missed it.
You have to check it out. It's pretty funny.
I'm all for a good rant. So we like rants here on this show. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of good rants on the program. It's a big day in the studio in here, Joe. The Players Championship begins today, so Ian and I are going to be flipping on some golf here in about 30 minutes. It's sad that you're missing it in studio today.
Yeah, I'm recording it,
okay.
So don't tell me anything.
I won't. Yeah, I'll let you know when to turn that DVR on. Just about exactly the time point that you need to start watching. That's the only thing I'll tell you.
That's fine. That would be a nice help, actually. Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah.
We got Scott Nickel, Predators assistant general manager, that will be with us later in the program. Another game for the Preds tonight, taking on the Vancouver Canucks. They got a huge win against Seattle the other night, as we discussed yesterday. A game that they should win tonight against the Canucks. We'll see what happens on that front. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports will be with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans and what they've done in free agency to this point. We'll get his thoughts on the Max Crosby situation with Baltimore. A lot of stuff coming up with Charles later in the program as well. And we will get into some more Titan stuff throughout the show as well. Joe, it is Auburn and Tennessee today. So you got an interesting game for Tennessee, a big game for Auburn. Tennessee not necessarily playing the way they want to play heading into this. Obviously, the Nate Ament injury has been a big part of that. And we're going to see what he looks like, not only in this tournament, but moving into the next tournament as well. But if you're a Vols fan heading into today's matchup against Auburn and heading into the postseason, how are you feeling about the squad that you've put together and where things currently stand with your group heading into this thing starting today when your postseason run begins?
Well, the Vols reporters, I talked to Ryan Shumpert yesterday. He came over to the arena. They had a practice over at Vandy. And apparently Nate Ament looked good and was doing 5-on-5. So he's questionable, but I think it's probably a good questionable. Now, and Shumpert made this point. I tend to agree with him. It's like, do you see if you can get through Auburn without him and try to just, be limited with him a little bit? I guess you could do that, or you could just try to have a minutes restriction. And you just don't want to do you don't want to have any chance that he goes backward before the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
And that's really, look, the Vols are, I think, solidly a 5 seed. Maybe they could drop to a 6, like if they lost today, depending on what other teams do. But that's where they are. They're in that range. They're in good shape. It's about matchups and stuff like that. It's about being healthy and being in as good a shape as you can be. And they're a little banged up. I will say too, like if they come out, play well today, and they can, little Tennessee Vanderbilt would be a lot of fun tomorrow, and you have a chance to, have a little run and get see if you can get Amari Evans continuing to play well and get some momentum and kind of feel better about your overall game. I mean, there is value in that in these tournaments too, beyond just like what wins might mean for you. I mean, that's probably more important for Tennessee, is just they're playing their best ball.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I would say this is just me. If you were at all concerned about Nate Ament today, I would not play him. That's just me. Now, I don't know how Rick Barnes is going to handle that. I mean, it is postseason. It is the SEC tournament. It's not like it's unimportant. But, when you're asking me to choose importance level here, the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament, I'll take the NCAA tournament and making sure that he's ready to go and getting more time on that front. So I'm interested to see how they handle that. And if he can play and he's ready to go, well, that's great. What sort of a threat is Tennessee going to be heading into this? I mean, other than the Kentucky games, Joe, really before he got hurt, they were starting to play well. Then you have the double-digit lead against Alabama, and you blow that in that one's. So you've got a couple of double-digit leads throughout the year in the half where you just totally screw it up in the second half and you let it get away from you. Obviously, you lose to Vanderbilt to end the year there where you just come out totally flat. And it was 15-2 at one point for Vanderbilt to open the game there. So you're not feeling great about the way you ended the season if you're Tennessee. So I do put some value in having a good showing in this tournament, maybe to, I don't know if confidence is the right word, but to get just your flow back, right? Like you need a little bit of flow in your game. And if Ament can go and you feel good about the injury risk part of it, I'm cool with it. I would just be really cautious of, all right, how much of a risk do we think this is? And if it's even, a moderate risk, I'd be hesitant to play him today if I was Tennessee.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. And that's why it is like, it's sort of like you could just try to buy that extra day. And then if if it's to the point where it's like, whatever it was, 50% when he got hurt. Now it's like 80%. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to mess with that,
Agreed.
So, and again, if it's like, obviously anybody can get hurt on any play, but if just usage is something that can aggravate it or irritate it, I'm not messing with that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. And if he doesn't play, then again, these tournaments are also, coaches usually extend their benches. Some of these tournaments, we've seen that. I saw that quite a bit yesterday. I mean, Kentucky got some new guys back in the line. I got Cam Williams back, but even other coaches using guys they don't maybe use as much during the regular season, because you just have to try to space the minutes out in case you do play 3 days, 4 days in a row. I mean, yesterday's teams could have been looking at 5, the winners. So So it's an opportunity for other guys to get going too. And I'm very interested to see like how JP Estrella plays in this tournament. Because again, I just think he like Amari Evans and Estrella, those guys had huge games last time out against Vandy in the loss, but both of those guys can they keep some of their individual momentum going, and then you can kind of make up for the absence of an Ahmed if he doesn't play.
One texter says, boys, if you're not taking the over in the 148.5 between Kentucky and Missouri, you're missing out. Get the free bread now. This texter not expecting a lot of defense between Kentucky and Missouri coming up later today.
Let's see, 140. Yeah, that's probably a good play there. I would tend to agree. I would definitely think that game would be pushing 80s with the way those teams play for sure. And yeah, I mean that's a good game, man. That's a really good game. I mean, Missouri's also close to the bubble, but I mean, I think that they're probably okay too. Again, with all the teams that Indiana just getting killed by Northwestern. I mean, Indiana's paying; they are just flat out of football school.
Yeah,
their basketball program stinks. Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible.
So bad bubble, and we want to expand the tournament, huh?
Yeah.
It's no. If this was a 76 team tournament this year, Auburn, Indiana, Cincinnati, all these teams that are just playing terribly and should not be in the tournament, they'd all be safe. They're fine. They're good. They're in. I mean, I understand every year is different. This is I think, an especially bad year. But yeah, this is a great advertisement for why it's a terrible idea to expand the tournament.
Can we point out again, as George has on the YouTube chat, that another SEC tournament has come, and Joe Rexrode is right behind the announcers table for the television broadcast. I mean, I think at this point, it's got to be intentional,
strategic
from the offices of the SEC that they get Rexrode as much airtime as possible.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the SEC thinks I'm hot.
Clearly,
right? I mean, I don't know what other conclusion you could draw. I mean, I'm just going to try to look my best. Look pretty for the cameras, and
that's all you can do.
Yeah. It's actually funny because yesterday for the night session, two different announcing crews. So we had Tom Hart and Dane Bradshaw, and Bradshaw turned around. He's like, hey, guys, could you clean up some of these empty coffee cups because it looked bad on camera? Like, sure, Dane, no problem, buddy.
I'm only here for you and your broadcast. It's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, we kind of looked like, want to look nice, want to make the SEC tournament look nice. So yes, I'll wear a real shirt again today too, just for that. It is weird. Like I mean, for whatever reason, the Athletic, we have two seats that are just like right there. Teresa was on my other side of me. She was just off the camera. So
it's becoming one of my favorite traditions.
Yeah. And another thing real quick about yesterday is, I was looking forward to breakfast when I got over there at 9:30 and they had ribs, macaroni, and baked beans out.
Did
I eat some? Well, yeah. Then later I had like steak tips. Okay. I had to do this, man. I really try to avoid the dessert tray. They had creme brulee cheesecake.
Oh boy.
Creme brulee cheesecake. I'm telling you, it was like really good creme brulee that was like on like one side of a really good cheesecake. It was insane.
I don't know if this week's going to end well for you.
No, I feel very bad about myself right now, but I felt really good in the moment.
That's good.
A lot of people are asking about the gout.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We are off and running on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on whether or not Rexrode is going to make it through the end of the SEC tournament without a gout flare-up. Take your thoughts on that on the text line. Plus, some former Titans on the move yesterday and more moves coming from the actual Titans. We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Big day for the Titans, Joe. It's the rebrand today, so we'll see what the jerseys, I guess, look like later today. Exciting times coming up tonight.
Yeah,
Titans fans very fired up about it.
Are they?
Some.
Okay.
Some are dreading it.
So do we know any details of what this will entail?
No, I don't.
We know nothing.
I'm excited to find out.
I know that Teresa, who's over there working her butt off at the SEC tournament, is breaking away to go cover it.
There we go.
I'm like, wow, okay. I'm like, well, I mean, I hope that there's some sort of, T Swift appearance or something, or
Boy, that'd be something.
Yeah, I mean, some kind of a concert situation, some kind of a Borgonzi singing situation, whatever, something like that.
That's really all I care about. We need to find a way to make that happen.
Yeah, you gotta try to recreate the Vray-Rob singing Florida Georgia. I still can't believe that happened. Like, I don't think we made enough of a deal about that. Like Vrabel and John Robinson were on stage singing a Florida Georgia line song, like terribly.
Yeah,
a terrible song by a terrible band, sung terribly by two NFL guys who I think may have been dipping into the sauce a little bit. Okay, I mean, what a day that was. And I was out there covering this, and there was so much weed smoke, I was high out of my mind.
Well,
I mean, it was maybe that's why I didn't make that much of a big deal out of it in my Tennessean column the next day, because the contact buzz, I just wanted to go get some taquitos.
I smoke weed constantly.
Nothing like early morning taquitos too. You can get that fired up right now.
That doesn't do well for the gout.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I mean, I think you just
so.
Lean in this week, just lean in. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I need to go over there and, I mean, I did have a kale salad yesterday too.
That's good.
Okay, so I just want to, and I had asparagus and I had green beans.
Oh, you're
I
good.
think today I need to just find a couple carrots and just sit in the corner and shut up.
So some moves made by the Titans yesterday, Joe. Malik Herring coming in from the Chiefs at defensive end, who has missed a ton of time, has not played very much. I think he played in 2 games last year for Kansas City. So nothing more than a depth add right there. The Titans did have a trade yesterday. I want to read you the opening line from the New York Post, Joe, in the aftermath of the Solomon Thomas trade that the Titans pulled off. Quote,
okay,
if Robert Saleh keeps it up, the Titans may need to be renamed the Jets. That was the opening line.
Well,
from the New York Post.
The Jets
/ Giants.
Originally called the Titans.
That's true.
That is right.
That
is
true.
right.
So here we go.
Could be a full circle moment there. Solomon Thomas traded yesterday from the Cowboys to the Titans, a 7th round pick swap between the Titans and the Cowboys there. So, I mean, Joe, they are really focusing in here on bringing in some defensive linemen. There's no doubt they have brought in defensive linemen that Robert Saleh is very familiar with. That trend continues yesterday.
Yeah. Look, they clearly didn't think much of their defensive front last year other than 98.
Yep. Which, I get.
Which I'm not saying they're wrong at all. I feel like there's a little bit of the former player, the Jets connection, the Giants connection. I feel like there's a little bit of fatigue with that in the fan base at this point.
Yeah.
Which I get. I mean, Solomon Thomas, yeah, gosh, I mean, honestly, I kind of forgot about him. If people don't remember, he was an absolute monster at Stanford. In that draft where the Titans got Corey Davis at 5, he went 3. He went 3 to the Niners in that draft, and he never was like that level of player, but obviously he was with Saleh there and with the Jets. So I mean, it's a depth at this point. Look, I'll say this in general. Overall, I like that they've added at least some competent veteran pieces and some really good ones, by the way. overall to that front. I mean, they've got a lot of pieces up there now, and look, you're trying to help and accentuate as much as possible the best player on your team, and so overall, I mean, I like that strategy. I get the fatigue on the Jets Giants thing.
Former Titans on the move yesterday. Chig Okonkwo signing a 3-year deal with the Washington Commanders. So I think we knew when Bellinger was brought into the mix here at tight end that probably spelled the end for Chig, and he signs a 3-year deal with Washington. Also, Kevin Byard reportedly agreeing to terms with the New England Patriots. So a reunion between Kevin Byard and Mike Vrabel in New England. Joe, your thoughts on those two moves?
Yeah, well, that's we keep wondering, like, which former Vrabel players will he, like, what will they get AJ and stuff like that. And I hadn't really thought about, we've talked about a little bit about the possibility of of maybe Byard being a depth at here, but yeah, it's he's still playing pretty well, man. He's still a good player.
Pro Bowl.
I mean, again, yeah. I mean, you led the league in picks last year. I mean, so I don't hate that for either of those guys. I'm sure they'll enjoy the reunion.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. More conversation on NFL free agency, the Titans, plus an interesting report on the quarterback front yesterday that we'll get into. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll have the best and worst things in sports coming up at 6:45. I think Ian Safar was weighing about 10 options before the show.
There's a handful of stuff on there. And Robby just gave his standing ovation as the opening of the golf began. So we are officially underway.
A lot of stuff going on around here right now. Joe, DVR doesn't need to start yet. We're good at the moment.
Okay, thanks. I mean, maybe with that, we don't. It's so good, you can't even do a worse, and it's just best.
Could be
just a double bet. You may have to do a double best.
And nothing says best in sports like the Players Championship. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah,
big stuff. One texter.
Tally-ho!
That's right. Tyler on the text line says it appears the Titans aren't adding any more edge help in free agency, which I think is a mistake. But it feels time to turn to the draft. They also need more help on offense. So do you guys think it's better to take Bailey and a receiver in the second, or Love and an edge in the second? I'm starting to think you'll get a better edge prospect in the second than a receiver, and Love and Bailey seem pretty close as prospects. I would say this. I think you can actually, not that you can't find good edge prospects in the second round. I think you're going to be able to find some pretty good receivers in the second round as well. 35 overall. Like, I think there will be some receivers there that are very, very appealing to you if you're the Titans. So, like, which one is better? I don't know. Like, a lot of that depends on how close do you think Jeremiah Love and David Bailey are as prospects. Like, to me, Joe, if they're going to draft Jeremiah Love, they need to think that he is flat out the best player and that it's not particularly close between him and a David Bailey or him and a whoever that they would draft at number 4. That would be my view on it in terms of what's best there. Like, if you think Bailey and Love are pretty similar and just in terms of their talent level with how they project as prospects, I mean, positional value I think has to matter at that point, and I'd be going with David Bailey, and then I'd be looking to find a wide receiver or whatever in the second round there. But that's probably the way that I would view it. If you go Love in the first round, I still think in the second round, Joe, you're going to be able to find it, whether it's an edge prospect or a receiver prospect that you really like.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think, to me, if you draft Love, it's just like you believe that is, well, I guess it doesn't matter if you believe he's the best in the draft. 3 people are going to be gone. Maybe your best in the draft is Reese or whatever, and he's gone. But yeah, it's got to be clear that you just believe he's the best player that's available on the board, including if Bailey's there, including clear edge over Bailey. Because again, there is the formula. I think you do have to take position into account in the formula, and that whatever exactly that means mathematically, if you're trying to come up with some score and you add all the factors together, like that should bridge some of the gap between just straight up what their evaluations are as players. And again, like right now, my lean is to Bailey. I think because I think he's has the look of someone who's going to be a really, really impactful edge player for a long time. I love Jeremiah Love. I mean, everybody does, but it's just like you take him and he needs to be one of those top guys in this league. And I'm not saying he couldn't be, but I don't know for sure that he will be.
You'll be happy to know on my mock draft simulator that I did last night, Joe, I traded back twice to number 16, picked up a lot of draft picks, and also took Caleb Downs at number 16, which I don't think is realistic, but that's what happened in my mock draft simulator.
Interesting. Okay. Caleb Downs at 16.
Who moved up to 4? Anybody in particular you remember?
I believe it was New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans. Now, why they would do that at this point, I don't know, but that's what happened in the mock draft simulator.
Yeah, Downs is really interesting. There's no more, it's like no one's really talking, because there was talk about, my gosh, this might be like the safety going ridiculously high. And now with the knee, although I haven't heard a lot of follow-up on that knee report, but just the fact that that there's anything at all, any question at all, seems like he could go all over the place. I have no idea what's going to happen there. But if you feel fine about that, yeah, he's a really good football player. That's for sure.
So according to The Athletic, it looks like the Raiders will be showing interest in Kirk Cousins, who is 37 years old. Obviously, the Raiders are expected to select Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall at quarterback. But the Athletic putting it out there yesterday, and I think this was Josh Kendall, Diana Rossini, and Saad Youssef that put this out there, that Cousins is expected to be pursued by the Raiders here. So, obviously, Joe, would be interesting, like that pairing of Mendoza and Cousins together, if it plays out that way, would be very interesting. What do you make of that potential pairing? How much interest do you think there will be from the Cousins point of view in that? Like, is Cousins still thinking that he's going to start somewhere? You got the Kyler Murray situation brewing in Minnesota right now. There's all this stuff going on. What do you make of a potential Mendoza-Cousins union in Las Vegas?
Yeah, it's really interesting. First of all, it's just hilarious to think of those two in a quarterback room. It is absolutely the most likable nerd quarterback room of all time. If you
It's
get
also
it, I mean,
hilarious to think of those two in a quarterback room in Las Vegas.
yeah. Okay, guys, team outing at the casino. Well, we're going to Bible study.
Yeah,
so,
we'll be over here. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, but I just don't know. I don't know if Kirk Cousins would go for that. I would advise Kirk Cousins to give us a great announcer, help out NFL media.
Yeah.
And you've made the most money ever in the NFL. Is that right? Like,
it's got to be close, man.
He's up there. And it just, to me, he wants to be a starter. Now, I'm sure if you're the Raiders, you're like, look, we don't want to rush Fernando into things. You're going to have some opportunity to start. So look around this league. Can you identify a team where you're definitely going to be their starter and there's not at least a rookie or somebody else, hanging in there as a competitor? And that's a good point. But again, that to me is why I think Cousins might choose to just bag it. So we'll see. Can Tom Brady talk him into it?
Yeah.
The Raiders probably need a break at some point. I mean, I think that's a really good idea for them. I like that idea.
I agree
for sure. If he's up to it, I think that's a great situation. And you don't have to start him right away. And of course, people will be clamoring for him, but that's whatever. I mean, you don't have to just throw him in there. And certainly as far as habits, I mean, Cousins has maximized himself. We talk about his money, and a lot of people bag on him for that, but he's also he is an amazing example of maximizing yourself as a player. He leaves no stone unturned. The preparation, all the stuff he does from every aspect of trying to maximize. So he's not that talented at all. And I've been saying this since I covered him in college. Like, he's not an NFL. He really is. Doesn't really have. I mean, he has an okay arm. It's okay enough, but what he does in terms of quick decision making, the processing, and just the preparation has given him this career. So that's a great example, for Mendoza to be able to see on a daily basis. I don't know if Cousins would be, and I wouldn't blame him if he's like, yeah, guys, I appreciate it, but if I'm not a real starter, then I think I'm going to go do TV.
Kirk Cousins is to this point, Joe, the fourth most career earnings in the history of the league. Okay. Can you name the three that are above him?
See, that's the thing. It's like,
I'll give you a hint. They're all quarterbacks.
Yeah, I know the quarterbacks. I guess I might throw Stafford in there.
He is number one.
Okay.
$408 million.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think Mahomes would be there, right? I don't think so. So you're probably going, someone who's been able to, just like Cousins, hit it a few times, and get new deals. So let's see, someone a little bit older.
Where's Brady on that list?
Brady is number 3, just above Cousins. If Cousins signs another deal, he will pass Brady. He's only Brady is only, let's see here, $11 million ahead of Kirk Cousins.
That'll be Brady's selling point to him.
Yeah, maybe so.
You could pass me, Kirk. Okay, who would be number 2?
I'll go Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan is
it.
number 6. Number 2, when I say it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, duh. He's been
Go
around
ahead.
for a long time. Not especially likable.
Oh, yes, your boy.
Yeah.
Oh, duh. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. God.
That's number 2.
He is old. Yeah.
He is. $394 million for Rodgers in his career.
What's the number for Stafford?
Stafford is 408.
Okay, and Cousins is
321.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry, Kirk. You're not going to
Measly 321.
Yeah, I know. You're not going to quite get there, Kirk.
Yeah.
But wow. Yeah, and so obviously, Cousins compared to those guys, he's not the same level of quarterback. He is a good quarterback and has had some very good seasons. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think it'd be pretty cool to see that, and it'd be a lot of fun to have those guys together. But also, again, we need better announcers. Kirk immediately becomes one of the best announcers in the league.
By the way, Ryan Tannehill, 20th all time with $197 million. There you go.
Good job.
Number 20.
Tannehill. I saw he made some list where he's like the 99th best quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Did you see this? Yeah.
I did. Congratulations to him. It's good stuff.
Making some lists.
Former Titan Julio Jones at 41 on the list, $154 million. A lot of former Titans on this list.
Man, that was a lot of money thrown to money on that pick in the first play against Cincy.
Boy, was it ever. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, the best and worst things in sports coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
The best and worst of the sports week. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is the worst. You look like you're feeling sorry for yourself.
He's one of one. He is him.
This is a Coke bottle. It's not a crystal ball.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Okay, let's go.
It's time for the best and worst things in sports. We'll take your best things, your worst things on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Rexrode, kick us off with your best and worst in the world of sports.
I wish I could be more creative, but that's okay. I don't need to be more creative. The best in sports is that, this is like, I'm a pig in slop. And for those of you who are with me, let's just all enjoy it together. And for you casuals who are kind of dipping your toe in the water, today, 10 a.m. today, we're seeing if the Miami Redhawks can keep it going and get to 32-0 against UMass. We got NC State, Virginia today. Providence and St. John's, last time they played, they almost had an absolute all-out brawl. Ohio State, Texas Tech as a Thursday game. That is a banger. Kentucky, Missouri is a pretty good one here that I'm excited to cover here in a couple hours. Louisville, Miami is a really good one. Auburn, Tennessee should be a hell of a game later. Let's see, what else do we have today? BYU, Houston, man. The Big 12 is the top of the Big 12 is pretty awesome. Xavier, UConn could be interesting. TCU, Kansas is a good one late tonight. Clemson, North Carolina. Oklahoma now, you count them as a team that's sort of creeping up on the bubble. They get Texas A&M here in Nashville tonight. That's a game that could mean something. That's just the Thursday. We're not even getting to the main stuff with the top teams, and most of these leagues don't play till tomorrow, including the SEC tournament. So championship week is amazing. My worst, I'm going to go with the Ravens. Like we're going to have Charles on later, and interested to see his thoughts. But Karski yesterday is sort of like, basically dismissing this as something that people should be mad about, or they're within their rights on that stuff, and that's all fine. But I'd like to see some kind of repercussions. I don't know what those would be, but this is it's a ridiculous way to do business to me, and it shouldn't just be dismissed as it's their right. So that's my worst in sports, the Baltimore Ravens.
Ian Safar, your best and worst things in the world of sports.
I don't know. There's a lot this week. It was hard to kind of narrow it down. So I'm gonna take two here.
Okay.
For best, give me the Ryan Ufko goal.
Pretty sweet.
First ever goal. Give me that as one of your best this week. That was pretty legit. And then I saw a stat earlier this week from this was after his last 27 games. So I think they might have had a game or two since then. Nikita Kucherov, Tampa Bay Lightning, in his last 27 games, 19 goals, 39 assists, 58 points.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty legit.
Guy might have a future in this game.
I don't know. Kucherov is pretty impressive considering what he's doing down there in the stretch. Maybe a little underrated considering some of the star power they've had on the teams when they've won with Stamkos and Hedman and such and Vasilevsky. But pretty good. Tampa's still rolling down there, even though they kind of change over the roster. So pretty impressive stuff. Worst this week, give me the U.S. at the World Baseball Classic. Between the manager and people not knowing the rules, whether or not they have advanced, partying the night thinking they have advanced, only to start the next game a little sluggish and lose. And then Bryce Harper, some of the comments he made about, the World Baseball Classic, it's great, but it's not the Olympics. Okay, dude. No one said it's the Olympics. If you don't care, what
are you playing for?
Don't come. You're not. This is not an obligation.
Yeah.
And just complete clownery from those guys.
Good stuff.
Clownery is a great word, and it often applies to Bryce Harper.
There you go. My best thing in sports, I've got a combo here, Joe. Bam Adebayo, 83 points. I mean, shout out to Bam Adebayo. I understand he shot a lot of free throws in the game, but
He was on my
83
list.
points is 83 points in the National Basketball Association. It's the second highest scoring game of all time. So that's my best thing in sports. My worst thing in sports, everybody whining about Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points. It's like I've seen all these old heads just all over it the last couple of days. Obviously, yeah, he shot a lot of free throws and he played the Washington Wizards. So I understand. Like, Bam Adebayo is not who I would have picked to surpass Kobe Bryant in the second most points in the history of the game. Now, I will say this. Some of the same people that are whining about Bam Adebayo that got all, how he got his 83 points are the same people that just stood and applauded and just were over the moon about Kobe Bryant's last game as a Laker, where he scored 60 points, in which he was 22 of 50 in the game. 22 of 50. Nobody had any problem with Kobe Bryant shooting the ball 50 times in a game that meant absolutely nothing, and had the only thing going on in the game was them trying to get Kobe as many shots as humanly possible. He shot 50 times in the game, had 60 points, and it just celebrated. But the Heat tried to get the ball to Bam too much at the last part of the game. It's like, shut up. Just enjoy cool things when they happen in sports.
I think that's a great actually that's rant worthy, and I think you're exactly right. It's like, yeah, usually when you get to some of these things, like these record breaking, again, like someone mentioned, like the Strahan Favre thing, like usually like there's stuff, people are doing stuff that just not in the regular flow of like a regular game to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And that happened with Kobe and his 81 too. That's maybe not to this extent, but yeah, I agree. It's too much whining. Also, almost rant worthy. But he then backed off and said he was joking. I mean, Parker Kelly yesterday is doing the whole like, well, why was there no video?
There we go.
Like, well, what? No one took video. I'm like, it's 1962, so that would mean that you would have to have a film camera. Like, do we understand that in 1962 there weren't camcorders? No one's just like taking video.
No phones.
So if a game was if a game wasn't televised, which most NBA games weren't, a 1962 game in Hershey, Pennsylvania, then no, there's not going to be someone in the crowd. Oh, hold on, everybody. I need my huge film camera here to film some of this. He's got 82 points. Everybody watch out. We got a film studio here. I mean, but he claims he was just trying to get a rise out of Corey and Jake. So, but I mean, like that whole thing. I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing until yesterday, and what a dumb thing it is. There's audio, by the way. There's like radio broadcasts of it, but I mean, I guess they were all in on the gag. Oh my goodness,
that's good stuff. One texter says best Shea Ralph getting tossed in Vandy's SEC tournament game in protest of horrendous officiating and high-fiving all the players on the way out. Go Doors.
And her coaches.
Yeah.
That was a terrible call. Michaela Blake's got like trucked and got called for a foul. That was pretty bad.
A lot of votes for the World Baseball Classic on the in both the best and the worst on the text line. Jonathan says, my worst in sports is how the Tennessee Giants / Jets can't sign any tier 1 free agents and are only signing tier 2 former Giants Jets players. This from Jonathan on the text.
Oh boy. Check that number. Does that match up with Stillie's number? I don't
know.
Just want, is he trying to sneak a burner in on us?
A best in the World Baseball Classic has to be the espresso machine in the Italian dugout with the numbers of the dudes who hit home runs.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Pretty good stuff.
That's a good best.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Scott Nickel, Predators Assistant General Manager, will be with us at 7:30. Charles Robinson for his weekly visit coming up at 8 o'clock. Coming up next, are we concerned about Cam Ward and the weapons on the offensive side of the football? We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are going to be joined by Scott Nickel, Predators Assistant General Manager, coming up at 7:30 on the program. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports for his weekly visit a little bit later in the show at 8 o'clock. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe, on the offensive side of the ball, we've not seen the Titans do a ton in free agency. We talked yesterday with PK about the interior of the offensive line and some concerns that I think still exist there, so we'll see what happens on that front. Most of their moves in free agency to this point have been on the defensive side of the ball, and we've gone through that. They did bring in Wan'Dale Robinson, which you feel good about. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson's a good player, okay? But Daniel Bellinger coming in, so you've changed things around at tight end. But, you know, what's going to happen with Calvin Ridley? The draft will change this conversation to some degree. Now, to what degree, we'll see. You know, if you go edge rusher at number 4 overall, who's going to be there at number 35 potentially for receiver? I would assume they're drafting a receiver at some point here. But as things stand now, Joe, there has, to this point, not been any changes at running back. You've still got Pollard and Spears. You have added Wan'Dale Robinson to your wide receiver room. We don't know yet on the Calvin Ridley front. I think it makes some sense to keep him around at this point based on what else is out there in free agency. You know, you swapped out Chig for Daniel Bellinger on the tight end front. How are we feeling about the skill positions that are surrounding Cam Ward right now? And is there concern, to your point, Joe, that what they've done so far this offseason hasn't yet been enough, knowing that the draft is still coming as it relates to surrounding Cam Ward and trying to upgrade as much as possible in one offseason?
You know, I think this kind of goes to what we've talked about so much, and we talked about it earlier this week with both of these teams. Don't be bad and boring. And I think if you're a Titans fan right now, first of all, I think that you should be encouraged. Like, some people are, I think, going a little too far with the anger over the Jets, Giants stuff, because some of them are good players. Now, some of them are just throw-ins. But again, it's like with the throw-ins, I mean, every team has plan B, depth throw-ins, right? Like, does it really matter if it's a former Jet or whoever, right? It's kind of whoever. I mean, at the top of the list here, they've gotten some guys who are good, who, yes, they have history with. And with their coaching and with some of the talent they've added, some of the talent they have, I think that we're seeing a pretty good job of upgrading this defense. Like, I'm somewhat optimistic that, and there's more work to be done in the draft for sure, but I'm somewhat optimistic that they are going to pretty quickly look better on defense and maybe have a chance to be pretty solid. But so far, that's at the expense of the offense. And you just laid it out there, Robby, especially just the weapons and this question in the middle of the offensive line. I really don't like that combination of things right now. And so I just, at this point, with a lot more information to come, it just feels like a team that's going to be in a bunch of like 19-13 games. And my God, we're so sick of bad and boring football. Now, can the defense be good enough that they can win some of those games? Maybe. But yeah, they have serious work to do to make their offense dangerous. And again, give Cam Ward a chance. Like, right now, I would say you're not incomplete, not done. You have to keep saying that. But at this moment, you have not done nearly enough to help that kid.
I would agree. I think there's still a lot of meat on the bone just in terms of what I'd like to see done. Now, look, having said all that, I mean, the Titans could go sign Jawan Jennings today for all I know and add him to the room. And then you're having a different discussion about, what does that mean for the draft, all these things. So it's limited in terms of being able to have this conversation on March the 12th with guys that are still out there, and then obviously the draft coming up after that. I'm just looking at it right now, and without a massive jump individually from guys like Chim DK and Alec Iomanner at wide receiver, like you're looking at it right now at receiver, and you're like, okay, Wan'Dale Robinson, he's a good player, nice signing to bring him in. What's Calvin Ridley going to be? Is Calvin Ridley at this stage of his career coming off an injury and with back-to-back seasons, Joe, of starting really slow? Like he's just been a slow starter. And at this point, I'm just going to assume Calvin Ridley's going to be a slow starter until he shows me that he's not. But he's going to be 32 in December. What's left for Calvin Ridley? Like just assuming that they keep him, what does that look like for them next year? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question is going to be. Pollard came on at the end of last year, and as we've talked about multiple times, with as slow of a start as it was for the Titans running game, Pollard actually ended up having a career best season in terms of just purely yardage, right? He ended up with 1,082 yards. So it's not like Pollard Spears as a running back combo is it's like terrible or anything. I mean, they could get by another year with Tony Pollard as the primary running back, I think. But I think there's an opportunity, when you see some of the guys that were out there in free agency, you thought about, what would Kenneth Walker look like here? Or what would, what does Tyler Algier look like, paired up with somebody here, and, now everybody's attention on the running back front is turned to Jeremiah Love, and we'll see what happens there. Obviously, you feel like that would be a pretty big upgrade if that's the route that they go. But I just think you still look at the weapons for the Titans, and it's probably a little underwhelming, right? And not that I expected it to be that much different. I mean, it's not like there were a ton of guys out there in free agency that I thought were game changers. But, you begin the free agent conversation, and it's like, all right, well, what would it look like if a guy like Alec Pierce was in here with his big playability? Or what would it look like if Kenneth Walker made it to the market and the Titans made a serious push for him, right? And for it to be as, I guess, limited as it's been to this point at the skill position part of it, I still think you look at this offense right now, and there are some real questions as to how explosive they're going to be able to be given the roster that they have.
Yeah, no doubt. And still those questions, like the Ridley thing's a big question. And I'm not, I'm not anti Ridley here next year, but I'm also not excited about it. And definitely the he switches systems. It takes him a while. That, seems to be a thing. So you have to keep that in mind along with the health thing. And look, again, all of this, as we're talking about it, this may be lining up for Jeremiah Love at 4 and whatever receiver is best available at 35. And then it's like, okay, well, that's just was the plan. They looked at the whole thing and it was like, Love's our top player. We're going to have a chance to take him. We're going to take him. And then, the receiver draft certainly stretches quality into the second round and probably beyond that. And so there you go. And then I think you're, in terms of addressing things, that makes sense. Now, it doesn't mean it's the right choices. Again, I'm still a Bailey guy at 4, but at least maybe that is the answer. Maybe that's what we just won't, we're not going to know. In the meantime, a Jennings is out there. But other than that, there's just not a lot more you're going to do in free agency. And I just don't know at all where, you're going to solidify the interior. There's going to be, that storyline, unfortunately, is going to be just a lot of unknowns and hope that people take steps forward as opposed to getting someone proven to go in there. And I just think that's unfortunate.
So as we sit here today on March the 12th, are you concerned about the weapons that are surrounding Cam Ward on the offensive side of the ball? We'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
depending on how you want to define it, the Patriots got 8 starters from free agency last year. 8. Yep. And you can microwave a franchise now. And if I'm circling somebody who's that this year, it'd be Tennessee, where they go out and they get, and by the way, it wasn't like, with the exception of Stephon Diggs, these were not famous players that the Patriots were getting. Milt Williams, we knew was a stud, but we didn't know it was going to be that good. But it's like Robert Spillane. It's Mac Hollins. Guys who can just go out and give you competent snaps. And when I look at this Tennessee mini rebuild, I'm seeing Jonathan Franklin Myers, who's at the top of the heap, who's awesome. And again, you want to talk about how important pass rush up the middle is. Franklin Myers can give you that. But then Cordell Flott, Alontae Taylor, Daniel Bellinger, who's going to give you a bunch of confident snaps. Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be a volume shooter at wide receiver. I wish they could have added Alec Pierce, but that obviously wasn't in the cards. He doesn't even reach free agency. It just felt like there's a lot, and I don't know how you feel about the Titans, but there's a lot of earmarks. So, like, it feels like they're this year's Patriots just in the sense that there's professional coaching where there wasn't last year, same as Gerard Mayo and Mike Vrabel, a bunch of terrible players being replaced by competence, and then Cam Ward, who got really comfortable in the pocket towards the end of the year, was using his legs better, didn't look like the game was too fast for him ever, but certainly understood it the last 2 weeks of the season. I'm a little concerned about the shoulder there because he hurt it in the last game of the season diving into the end zone. But it just feels like if anybody's going to be this year's New England, it's going to be Tennessee.
That's Kevin Clark with the This is Football with Kevin Clark podcast, talking about the Titans. Interesting stuff there from him on comparing it to last season's Patriots. You know, the weapons part of this is interesting. You know, he talked about Wan'Dale Robinson there coming in. A lot of moves that have been made on the defensive side of the ball. I just still look at the offensive side, and I think there's a lot of questions. People on the text line seem to agree with that. Now, Colin Shelbyville says, I'm not concerned that Cam won't have a chance to compete. I just believe we're going to be outgunned in every game we play unless we find the next A.J. Brown at wide receiver in the second round. Keith says, I think drafting and developing weapons on offense is the right approach. Big spending on offensive weapons seems not to work out all that much, or at least until the offensive line is addressed. You know, the Love part of this, you know, if they draft Jeremiah Love at number 4 overall, you start to think, well, okay, how long has that been their plan? And if that's the case, like, how much differently do you feel about the weapons around Cam Ward right now, Joe, if they end up with Jeremiah Love at number 4 overall?
Well, different for sure. And he is a pass catcher. I think the 40 time got the attention, but I will say, and we know how much of a fan I am of, let's all gather on and watch dudes exercise for a week. But I will say, you look pretty good in those pass catching drills. I think Notre Dame used him a ton, you know, maybe in a different offense. He's used a little bit more in that way, but I think he's absolutely a 3-down back. I know people don't get excited hearing about pass pro, but it's such an important thing to, like, not have to take someone off the field.
Yeah.
Because they're and pass pro is a huge part of that job. Huge part of being a running back is that you're able to, a handful of times in a game, know exactly what you're supposed to do against a blitz and get in there with physicality and punch. And sometimes those are some of the biggest plays for an offense in a football game, are when you pick up a blitz, your back does exactly what he's supposed to do. Everybody has the protection right. And boom, that deep shot is there because the defense left itself vulnerable. And so even that part of it to me is exciting, that he is really good at that. He's just a really good all-around solid technician of the position. But is he coming in this league, and is he going to be Saquon level difference maker? Is he going to be Bijan level, Jahmyr Gibbs level? I'm not saying the same, you know, those are all different styles of players, but that level of, like, he moves the needle. Like, he is just a problem for people. He's a big play guy. He's a high volume guy. Durability is a big part of it too. I think that's all checks out with him. Again, if they do it, I think it's exciting. I think you've got yourself a potential new star. You can obviously go harken back to McNair, George, and those drafts, and it's like, is this going to be, you know, is Ward Love going to be for 10 years plus, like a huge part of this franchise and a huge part of them having success? I mean, it could be exactly what they should do. But again, he can't just be like a really good player who gets you 1,400 yards. It has to be better than that. And I just don't know. Nobody knows for sure, until these guys get in this league and start strapping the pads on and playing against NFL players.
Are we dismissing the idea maybe too early? And by we, I mean all of us collectively in this draft process, that receivers just know it's just off the board now at number 4 for the Titans. Like, is that too much of a leap to make based on, the testing with Carnell Tate, and, he's going to have his pro day coming up. So we'll see what happens there. I've watched some Tyson clips and some thoughts on him, and he's, I don't know that would even enter my thought process at number 4. I know that you would take Mekhi Lemon number 1 overall, but do you think that we're dismissing, receiver at number 4 preemptively as a collective here?
The consensus seems to be that's a little rich for any of these guys.
Yes.
I think Tate, Tate's 40 time isn't like disappointing or surprising to me, but I think it would have had to be absurdly disappointing the other way with everything else he offers for him to be a top 5 guy. Absolutely. If the Titans were to take Mekhi Lemon at 4, I'm not upset about it. I think the reaction from the league would be, man, that's high for any receiver. And I know a lot of people have him as like the 2nd or 3rd receiver in the draft. I think he's the best. But so I'm here for it. But that seems to be the consensus. I also I like teams that, don't participate in groupthink. I mean, everybody's got their own rankings, and I know that it didn't work out for Mike Mayock, but I appreciated that he made weird picks all the time. People were like, oh, I thought that was a 3rd round grade, but okay, you took him at number 11 overall. And that might have been a little bit extreme, but it seems that way, but it seems that it's just, we're not going to see a receiver until maybe we get into 7, 8, 9 or at earliest. But again, sometimes the groupthink expectations are wrong, and you get a surprise.
You do, and it seems like every year in the top 10 somewhere there's a pick where you're just like, huh? Okay,
right,
cool. And I'm sure that'll happen at some point this year too. But it feels like at this point it would be a pretty big surprise if the Titans ended up going receiver at number 4 overall. And I think when this whole thing started, that was not the case. Like, we almost expected them to go receiver at number 4 overall. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Preds assistant GM Scott Nickel. We'll get into a big game tonight for the Predators and the emergence of some young players, including a guy like Ryan Ufko, who has looked very good so far. We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Massive win for the Predators the other night against the Kraken. They are back at it against Vancouver coming up tonight. And to help us talk more about that, we head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in Predators Assistant General Manager Scott Nickel to the program. Brought to you by Aero Exterminators, going beyond the call. Aero Exterminators, a proud partner with the Nashville Predators. Scott, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you taking time to be with us. I want to start this. Do you have a business card? And if so, how long is it? You are the a Preds assistant GM. You're the general manager of the Milwaukee Admirals. You're the director of player development. I don't know that I've ever met a more impressive series of job titles than that.
Well, it's a lot of hockey all the time, which is fantastic. So it brings a smile to my face when you see the director of player development with all our guys there and see our young guys grow through the system, and even with our Milwaukee coaches with, everyone got to see the other night with all our young guys kind of pulling the same rope and helping out the team and get a huge win in Seattle.
Well, no doubt. And Ryan Ufko, obviously, just a highlight reel goal the other night. Anybody who's paid attention to Milwaukee this year knows that he's having a great year. What have you thought of him so far at the NHL level? I mean, he looked like Roman Josi on that goal the other night, but I think overall he's looked really solid, really comfortable. Overall, what do you make of the year that Ufko is having?
Well, I think he said he looks comfortable, and it's only his third game, right? So nothing is too for Ryan, like their fourth round pick, and nothing's too big there's no moment too big for him. Like he's so even keeled, and he's been all world for us. And in Milwaukee, he leads our team in points, and it's not even the points. It's like every situation he plays, he's out there on the penalty kill with Kevin Gravel, our number one unit. He runs our number one power play. He's out there 6-on-5, 5-on-6. Like, we saw a little bit of him last year. I think he played one game at the end of the year, but and then I think that was a really good taste for him to see what it was all about. He was okay, but he was absolutely, this year when I called him that he was getting called up, he is absolutely ready. It wasn't every young kid wants to go, okay, I want to play in the NHL right now. Yeah, maybe they're not ready, but after the year, his start to our year in Milwaukee and driving our team, he's the head of the snake for our team in Milwaukee, and it's great to see him get a chance here.
So, Scott, obviously Matthew Wood, another guy who looks the part. Clearly, you see the bright future there, and a guy who has moved around some, looks comfortable down the middle. What's been the conversation, with him in terms of like ultimately where he settles in the NHL long term, and what do you think about, I guess, that versatility that he brings?
I'd love to see him play center. Who doesn't want a 6'4" centerman, right? Who can make plays and see the ice and create offense, right? So I would love to see him up there. And this is a good, he's kind of thrown in the fire a little bit with moving to the middle, but he's wanted to play center even since development camp. He was like, hey, I can play center. He's a smart kid. He knows we're not really deep up the middle. So he's thinking, if I can be a centerman, I'd probably play here a long time. So yeah, even when he went down to Milwaukee for the Olympic break, he wanted to get a few reps at center as well. So it's always been in his head. I know we've, as management group and the coaches and stuff, we've talked about it. So I think he's doing great. He's going to have some growing pains, but I think if you look at his face-off percentage, it's for a young kid in the NHL, he's been hanging in there. So I think it's great. The more centers we can have, the better, and then we can always flip them to the wing. But like I said, with Woody's hockey sense and the playmaking ability, and he's very systematically detailed, that I think it should be a good fit.
Scott, obviously a lot of Predators fans very excited long-term about Tanner Molendyk and the player that he's going to be at the NHL level. What have you thought in his first year in Milwaukee of the way that Molendyk has looked to this point?
Yeah, he came in, tough year, hurt in camp, came in, missed a little bit, a chunk of our camp, but he's been growing. I think you put Molendyk, you put Gibson in there, your Cole O'Hara that no one really talks about, but I would say don't bet this kid out. I would put a earmark beside him. He's been doing real well for us. But for Moley, He's just getting getting used to pro hockey. This is a really good time for him because, Ryan Ufko's gone. This is our conversation with Molendyk. Like, if you want to be the go-to guy, this is it. You're number one PP. You're going to start killing penalties. I think he played 20-plus minutes last night. Molendyk did for us. So this is his 20 games to kind of say, okay, yeah, he's in a little bit same mix, a little bit younger than Ufko, but relatively the same path where he's going to get the ball. He's going to run with it this year. Hopefully, hopefully not. We'll see what the year trends and maybe get him a game. If not, then be where your feet are and just drive that Milwaukee Admirals team into the playoffs.
All right, we keep going down the list here, Scott. Fedor Svechkov, a guy who, obviously some major opportunity this year. Again, for people, you have to remember things like, he's 22 years old. I mean, he's young. There's been some progress, some ups and downs. How have you seen him handle that, and what do you think is ahead for him?
Yeah, I think with just the way he handled it, I think you look at the Seattle game. I don't think anybody was really good in the first period. And for a young player, I think if that was Svech at the beginning of the year, I think he wouldn't have been able to grab his game, where he grabbed his game and he was really good in the second and third period. So I think I see the growth in those little things where the maturity, and I see his power, and his skating through the neutral zone has been really good. Since he's been up since the Olympic break. So I'm excited for him. I think everybody sees that it takes a little bit of time, but these games are, these are all playoff games going down the stretch. And I think with a lot of these kids that are up here, we've gone on some long runs in Milwaukee, so that they know how to play in those kind of games. I totally get it. It's a totally different league, and the stress and the pressure, but they've been in some of these tough games. So I'm ready. I'm excited to see the whole team and how they react.
Well, to that point, Scott, I mean, look, the trade deadline is come and gone, and we've seen some guys move on from here, some guys that played really important roles, and now you've got younger players that you've been developing, that you've been watching over the last couple of years here step into those roles, and they're doing it while you're right in the heat of a playoff race. So, how much does the situation that those guys are in, given where the team is right now fighting for a playoff spot, how beneficial is that, do you think, long-term in terms of playing in high-pressure, high-stakes games? And how have you seen those guys maybe react to it to this point?
Yeah, I think it's opportunity, right? And then they've played in these games, but that's where your growth comes from. You can go through video, you can talk till you're blue in the face, and tell these kids live it and feel it, and the energy of the fans, and just every face-off battle of a hold-up. If it was the smallest detail, I think if you looked at Kemmel, his first game, he got picked off on the inside, and they scored the power play goal. I think it was maybe against Boston. You can go through all the video you want, but if you don't live that, if you don't know that guy's going to pick here, man, it's like moving a cement block. I might want to roll to the inside. That's what they have to do, and that's what they're getting on the job training. They've had a little bit in Milwaukee with it, but this is a totally different animal, and some are gonna have some good games. You got to be patient. Some are gonna elevate their game. Some are gonna struggle on a game to game. But as a whole, I think they're ready, and they can lean on our older guys. We're just your Forsberg, your Stamkoses, and look at Roman Josi with Ufko. We have a good group of older guys. They're not going to expect these young guys to do all the heavy lifting. That's what the team is for. They all pull their own weight, do your job, and it seems like they're hanging in there. They're right there. So it's an exciting stretch.
Scott, last thing for you here, specifically on LaRue. I mean, he's been highly productive in Milwaukee. I love the way that he plays the game. I mean, he's a very, straight line type of player. I love kind of the attitude that he brings as well. And, I know maybe it took him a little bit longer this year to get his shot in the NHL than maybe he thought heading into it. How much, I guess, more ready for the NHL do you think he is now, given everything, the experience he got in the league last year and what he's done in Milwaukee this year so far to prepare himself for another shot here?
That was the best thing for Zach to play in Milwaukee this year. Like I talked about Ryan Ufko, but Zach, he took it to another level, like maturity. He had a couple of hiccups, which is good because he plays with the heart on his sleeve. But he wanted the puck. He was if we were down on goal or we needed a big wall play or, a breakaway, how many game-winning goals he had. He was the guy he wanted the puck on his stick. And he produced. He was a big time player for us in Milwaukee, and he got that confidence and that swagger. He could have been up a few different times, but he got some injuries and some other family stuff. But he's ready. It's almost like Ufko. Like these kids want to be here right away, but they're not ready. Now they're ready. Now they can step in. Now they got confidence. Like I thought his line with Woody and Shafe, they dragged guys into the battle against Seattle. So would he have done that last year? Probably not. So that now they're closer to being a polished product, I guess you could say, even though they're super young. But I think it was the best thing for him. And I think if you ask him that, he'll probably agree with you. It's so got a lot of attributes. He reminds you a little bit of Bunting, how he can score and be kind of drive the net, stay net front. And so I think that's a really good. That's kind of his comparable in my mind. So he's got a lot of big shoes to fill.
Well, another huge game tonight for the Preds taking on Vancouver. They are 1 point out of a playoff spot as we enter into action today. Scott, thanks so much for your time as always, man. Really appreciate you taking time to be with us, and good luck tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Scott Nickel, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Aero Exterminators. Going beyond the call, Aero Exterminators, a proud partner with the Nashville Predators. Preds in action tonight, taking on Vancouver out west. So it's a late one tonight, 9:00. The puck drop between the Predators and the Vancouver Canucks. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports will be with us at 8:00. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
There was a lot of meat, you know what I mean? And of course, I ate all of it.
I need some fiber. Can you crop this photo for me? Oh, my filming is,
elite.
Pretty
Spectacular.
Pretty good.
You edit the video?
She does not disrobe anywhere near me.
She's completely dressed.
So, yes, I'll wear a real shirt again today, too.
Joe, do you have pointy nipples that show through the polo?
2 with good length.
I got length,
Wilt was real. Just ask all of those women.
Built to pound. Let's get back to my feet.
It is time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning here on the program. Ian Safar coming through as he does every day. Joe, the floor is yours.
Yeah, not sure where to go now after that. It started out like thematically tied to what I'm about to talk about, and then it took a left turn into territory I don't want to talk about. But I think sometimes you guys are really just my support group, and so I'm coming to you today to tell you that the month of February, it is pretty funny because I chose February, the shortest month of the year, to do like a super healthy month. Dry. People do dry January. I did dry February. 28 days. Okay, come on. Yeah, but month of February, and really, I mean, some of this it really is just practical. And the reality for me is like I'm not buying new clothes. Like, I mean, every once in a while, buy like a new shirt. I'm not buying like new pants because I don't fit into my pants. I'm not doing it. Okay. And so the month of March, I mean, I'm about to be on the road a lot. And just yesterday is a great example of I was at Bridgestone for 12 hours. And so you're working and and then there's the buffet in front of you. So what do? Let's see. Ribs at 9:30 in the morning. Some
cheesecake,
some steak tips, some chicken breasts, some asparagus and beans and stuff like that. But also, yes, I got the creme brulee cheesecake against my better judgment. That's just day one. That's day one of postseason basketball. In the month of February, I didn't drink alcohol. I ate extremely healthy. I was in the gym almost every day with the idea of, okay, we're going to, again, I don't do the scale anymore. I mean, lifting weights, I've realized that like the scale, it just doesn't, I don't do it. I don't do the scale. It's all about fit. It's about looseness of pants. Okay. It's all it is. These pants, I have these jeans that are flannel jeans, and Katie bought them for me before the Olympics in Pyeongchang because it was going to be insanely cold. So they're like, it's basically like jeans that are also like long underwear inside the jeans. Okay. They're the only jeans that fit me.
The line jeans, yes.
Yes. They're the only jeans that fit me. And not long ago, I swear, they were like they were loose. They were too loose. The buttons are fighting for their lives now. Okay. And so I went through that entire month, did all that stuff. I'm like, this will move the needle and set me up to be fine in March. And basically like nothing changed. Like basically nothing changed. I swear to you, if I did the same thing like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it would have been a dramatic difference. So this is a very depressing rant. I mean, this is you get to a certain age and things get harder, but it's like, if you are that good, and I mean, seriously, I was really good, like not eating, at night. I fasted like 16 hours basically and only ate during an 8-hour window. And I mean, I ate apples and blueberries and lean protein and like really like nothing changed. So should I just absolutely go hog wild this month and just assume this is just my body for forever? Or if I do that, am I going to be having to wear sweatpants to work?
Well, I mean, that was kind of my first thought was whatever you do, let's make sure we got a pair of pants for you. Okay. That's step one. We need to have some pants for you. Number two, I mean, I take all this, Joe. I mean, I know how dedicated you've been to the gym. I mean, that's been a months long process at this point from a gym standpoint. And I'm going to assume that there's just been a dramatic buildup of muscle in your body. And that's what's maybe taking it a little bit longer than you're used to when it comes to the jeans part of this. So I'd stick with it, give it a couple more months. You'll start to lose some of that. But I think there's some strengthening that's taking place, even into your core.
There is some strengthening. However, I don't think that I have a bulging six-pack here that's like,
well, not yet.
Oh my God, the muscle is making it so hard to button these jeans. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice thought, though. I appreciate that.
No, I'm stronger. Sylvester Stallone in there for too long.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm definitely stronger, which is good. Like, I mean, I'm going to keep doing it. Just like, yeah, at some point you get into the mindset of death avoidance, and that's basically right around where I am. Someone texting avoid anything with added sugar. Yeah, like, I mean, look, here and there. Again, yesterday I totally just completely went off the cliff. So, you know,
I feel like you have to do that, you know, every now and then, though, or you're just going to go crazy.
Yeah, but the problem is, you know, Oklahoma City, I'm hoping to be able to just like stay in my room and like go, you know, be in the hotel gym. But like then Chicago, I have all these people I have to see, staying with it. Like it's just, you know, it's not gonna. And then the Final Four, it's a bleep show, and so I mean, it's just I just need to be able to get through April 8th or whatever, like with clothing. And I'm not spending, man. I'm not. If I have to do like, you know, like if the buttons pop, I mean, I guess I'll just do like like a safety pin or something.
When's the last time you bought a pair of pants? Not Katie, you.
I mean,
the 90s.
No, I mean, like we have gone shopping for like, well, it doesn't really count because like when I married my cousin, aka
officiated
his wedding. But that was a suit though. That was a suit a couple years ago. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's a long time for sure. So, and again, I have no interest in doing this. Austin says, just get hyperthyroidism and you will drop 30 pounds in a while. You know, another thing with this is people are doing
that.
Oh, people are doing the Ozempic stuff, right? That's what somebody suggests. I don't want to do that. That stuff scares me. I don't want to do it. It freaks me, especially if it has to be a shot. Hell no. No.
I don't trust that stuff either, but I don't know. People seem to enjoy it. I have no idea.
Yes, people seem to be shriveling up on it. No thanks. But thank you for listening, folks. You've been a good support group. I'll keep you updated on my progress as I bulge.
Drop trowel. I'm going to stick this in your ass. Can't wait to find out what you've eaten today.
Yeah,
I expect hourly updates.
I'll bring the full menu tomorrow. I'll let you guys know.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Hope to be joined by Charles Robinson here in just a few minutes. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans and what they've done in free agency to this point. We'll get his thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens situation with Max Crosby and then pivoting very quickly to Trey Hendrickson in the aftermath of that. By the way, our offseason coverage presented by Tennessee Brew Works, locally brewed, community-driven. Tennessee Brew Works, the official craft beer of the football offseason coverage here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Joe, a lot of conversation yesterday around the league on Baltimore and that situation. Eric DaCosta addressed the media yesterday and gave his thoughts on everything that went down there. So Crosby is back with the Raiders. They signed Trey Hendrickson to a 4-year deal worth $112 million, could be up to $120 million in incentives there. Quite the reaction yesterday on that front. You mentioned earlier your best and worst things in sports. Not a huge fan of it. You'd like to see some sort of repercussion, even though we know that that's not going to happen here. But what do you make of the aftermath of Trey Hendrickson going to Baltimore, Crosby back to the Raiders, and how all the NFL teams in the aftermath of that deal with that from here?
Well, hold on. I'm getting a lot of health advice. I need to try to sort through all this and make sure I can get my body in. I appreciate all
Thank
the
you
help.
to the text line.
Some of the stuff I've done, but I yes, thank you for weighing in. I appreciate it. I think DaCosta, I didn't believe him. It just came off as I think it's ridiculous. And again, I'm not disputing what Kaharski said yesterday, which is like this is part of the issue with this and this doing a deal at this time of year, and all that. And it's within their rights to do what they did. But I don't know, man. I'd love to see, like, if there's, we talk about owner collusion all the time. I'd love to see, like, them pay in some way. And I'm sure, like, Raiders fans really feel that way, but it just doesn't sit well with me. So there's plenty of stuff like that happens in sports. In college sports, you have, like, tampering is rampant, and stuff like that, but there's really no, like, there's supposed to be, CSC and rules breaking and accountability, but there really isn't. But the NFL is a much more stable situation than college sports. And I don't know, I don't know what could be done here other than, like, actual just retribution from other teams. But it just bothers me.
So, Joe, we saw the Colts place the transition tag on Daniel Jones, and yesterday they come to an agreement with Daniel Jones. 2 years, $88 million. It can be worth up to $100 million, and he gets $50 million fully guaranteed at signing. So Daniel Jones and the Colts reaching a deal yesterday. I guess I'm not all that surprised. I mean, after the transition tag was placed, I figured they'd reach a deal here at some point, but 2 years, $88 million is where the number ends up.
Yeah, it's boy, the Colts are. They looked really good last year. They were one of the stories of the league before he got hurt and everything, and they have a good team. And he was good. He was impressive. It worked out well in Shane Steichen's offense. I mean, it's worth exploring more. But in the meantime, they are operating as if in this Super Bowl window. I suppose it's like, look, where they are with their roster and a lot of their veterans and stuff, it makes sense. It's just that I have my doubts that they're actually going to be in the mix as one of those real top teams in the AFC anytime soon, which, of course, will not jeopardize Chris Ballard's job, as we know. Nothing possibly could. But it's look, if Daniel Jones the sample size we saw last year of Dan Jones is what he's going to be, even after the Achilles. Again, we're talking about a guy whose mobility is his running ability is a huge part of his game. If he's going to be that guy, then they're going to be good, and this is a worthwhile investment. But meanwhile, they just gave the world to Alec Pierce, which is, I think, also questionable.
Kyler Murray reportedly visiting Minnesota today. So it sounds like Murray will be in the building visiting Minnesota today. He is looking for a starting job. That opportunity apparently is open in Minnesota. So I guess you could have Kyler Murray as the starter if a deal is landed today with J.J. McCarthy reverting back to being a backup there. But we've talked about that possibility of Murray to the Vikings. And it looks like, he's going today, Joe. I'd be pretty surprised at this point if he didn't walk out of there with some sort of deal and that Kyler Murray wasn't the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings to kick off the 2026 NFL season.
Which, Malik Willis, I think, is one of the fascinating stories of the league next year for sure, and just what he does with Dolphins. But Kyler Murray in Minnesota, just fascinating. And I tell you, man, I'm not out on it. I'm not out on that working better than a lot of people probably think it will. I've always liked his talent. Obviously, things didn't work out. I think he certainly deserves some blame for some things that didn't go well, including like with coaches and things like that. And so maybe that's a him problem that's going to continue to follow him. But I would say that if there's going to be like a really good Kyler Murray QB coach relationship and a coach who reaches him, I like Kevin O'Connell as having a shot, man.
That division, if that happens, you're talking about Detroit, who's trying to kind of retool on the fly here a little bit. You've got Green Bay, Chicago, who won the division last year, and then Minnesota, Minnesota, they got really up and down quarterback play. McCarthy had a couple of good games, but for the most part, it wasn't all that good. And then you look at the end of the year, and they still ended up. What was their record last year? Was it 9-8? So they were 9-8. So you had Chicago at 11-6, Packers at 9-7-1, Vikings at 9-8 with J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback, and the Lions at 9-8. So if Murray, which unequivocally is an upgrade over J.J. McCarthy, if he's the quarterback, what does that mean for Minnesota and what they do in the division?
Yeah, I think that you look at that division and I could buy a case for everybody. I could buy a case for everybody. And I'm sure the Vikings would still probably be picked last, I guess. But I could make a case for everybody. And I could certainly make a case for all of them to be really good teams with really good records in the playoffs and having a chance. Again, maybe some people think that's a little bit of a hot take with the Vikings and Kyler Murray, but I'm very interested to see how when you plug him into what Kevin O'Connell does. Man, I think it's really interesting. And so the drafts for all these teams, it's critical every year, but it's going to be really interesting to see, if any of them can really, make a huge, move the needle significantly in the draft. I think it's closer than some people would think. And yeah, that might be the best division in football. Certainly the NFC West was that last year, even with one bad team, but I think there's no bad teams in the NFC North.
By the way, if you're looking for updated odds to this point in free agency, Joe, of the AFC South on FanDuel Sportsbook, here's what you got. Houston, the favorite, at plus 160 to win the division. Jacksonville at number 2 at plus 190. Indianapolis at number 3 at plus 270. And the Titans, a distant 4th at plus 950. That's where you got the AFC South right now in terms of the odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Plus 950 to win the division. A distant 4th.
You know what? That's one of those where it's like, hey, take a flyer. What if Cam Ward makes a huge step? We still don't know who all is going to be on the offense with them. There are certainly names we don't know yet who are going to be part of the offense. Defense, I could see the defense being good. I think the defense has a chance to be good. That might be worth a buck.
Dennis says you heard Kyler Murray looking to sign as a starter for the Call of Duty esports team. Heck of a player out there. Is he a better quarterback? Is he a better Call of Duty player? I don't know. Yeah, that's the people of Arizona, but the fact that the film study thing made it into the clause of his contract is still one of the most amazing stories in the NFL over the last 5 years.
Yes, it is. And I'm sure he
is he going to get that in Minnesota too?
I don't know. That's a see, unfortunately, that's one of those things where it's like it's not like it's not like college coaches at public universities where we can actually get FOIA the entire contract and see it. But I have a feeling even if it is, they're going to work real hard to not let people know.
Hey, Kyler, we're going to need you as a quarterback in the National Football League to watch film if you take this job. That's going to be part of your contract. You got to watch film.
Everybody needs an outlet. I'm just saying. Some people, Chig travels to Belgium or whatever. And people, you got to have balance, right?
I agree. Look, I have no problem with Kyler playing video games. I just think it's objectively hilarious of how much he allegedly plays.
Apparently does.
Yep. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on the Titans and NFL free agency. We will do that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Right Time HVAC and Cromwell Media teaming up to bring comfort back to your home. Is your heating system struggling or completely out of commission following the winter storms, or do you need a fix to get you ready for summertime? If so, nominate yourself for the Right Time Home Rescue and tell us your story. Enter today at theGameNashville.com/HVAC, and you could win a new HVAC system installed by Right Time HVAC. Right Time HVAC, locally owned and operated. There's never a wrong time to call Right Time. Taking your thoughts on the Titans NFL free agency at 615-737-1025. Joe, Indy Ben has weighed in on the text line. Says if Daniel Jones comes back healthy, I'm pretty confident the Titans will remain a distant fourth team in the division. Only thing for me that could alter that is if they get Love to actually give them a running game. But even then, their offensive line still questionable. Ward doesn't have any serious playmakers around him who are still ascending. I expect them to draft a defensive end or Styles at number 4. This is from Indy Ben on the text line, Joe.
But what about your team, Indy Ben?
He says if Jones comes back healthy, then they'll be cooking with gas there.
So, Indy Ben, you're talking about like avoiding the cellar. Your GM is out there conducting himself like someone who's about to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, you got the
Your thoughts.
owner on the headset. She understands everything that's going on out there, so it's time to go. You've done made the moves, all in at this point.
Yes. There we go. Well, it's good to hear from Indy Ben. I'd like to. Trying to think, has Indy Ben ever said a bad thing about Chris Ballard? And if not, maybe that explains like the fan base, like everyone's just like mesmerized by Chris Ballard somehow. You know, it's like he has a spell over everyone.
How big of a loss, as
Versace.
Dustin from Hopkinsville brings up? You know, you get Pierce obviously to the big deal. How big a loss is Michael Pittman? Right? How much does that affect the offense in Indianapolis?
Feels like they'll go wide receiver in the draft at some point, right?
I would assume that happens, but how big a deal is that you've lost Michael Pittman?
Yep, that's a loss.
It is a loss. Another texter, Joe, says that plus 950 on the odds for the Titans is embarrassing. Very disappointed with free agency so far. We should have been much more aggressive with all the cap space that the team was bragging about. This is a 5 or 6 win team, in my opinion, and that's not good enough. This is from an unnamed texter on the text line. Not happy with plus 950 on the FanDuel Sportsbook for the Titans in their chances to win the AFC South next year.
Yeah, look, I don't know that there's anything the Titans were going to. First of all, the Texans and Jaguars. You're not doing anything to, on paper, in the minds of people who have been paying attention to this stuff, to close that gap much. Maybe more than that. I mean, I agree. That's a big number, plus 950.
Sure. And
the Colts, the Colts were really good last year too. I mean, like the whole division was better than expected, I would say.
Except you.
At least, yeah, and you weren't. So there's just it's three team. Like the expectations are not going to change. The Titans are going to have to, at some point, be a surprise team like the way the Texans were a couple of years ago, or kind of like the Colts were last year. Like at some point, you got to have some development. You got to flip things around. I mean, look, I do think this is a point brought up by Jared and Springhill in the YouTube chat that, you look at these corners, and I like the ads, and they've rebuilt it, and they have like a corner room now, like that can compete. But yeah, like Brownlee and McCreary compared to these two guys they got. Is there a big gap there? I don't think there's a gap. There's certainly a gap in pay, because you're paying a lot more to go the way they did, moving on from the young corners and then signing these guys. Again, I'm glad they addressed it, but it's a fair point to bring up. Like
these guys feel better, don't they?
They do.
Taylor is, to me, the best of all of that. Yes. And Flott seems to be fine player, but yeah, I mean, I like McCreary, and Brownlee's interesting. I understand the Brownlee situation was a little different, but it still is. It's like when you talk about money, you did move on from young cheap players to go into free agency and overpay guys.
Also, I brought it up, so I guess it's my fault. I wouldn't get too upset about what the divisional odds say, and that's like before the division or before the season, much less on March the 12th. I found an article from September the 3rd, Joe. So this is September the 3rd. CBS Sports is going through like their divisional picks, and they're citing the odds from Vegas. Let me read you the odds for the NFC West. San Francisco at plus 145, the Rams at plus 200, the Arizona Cardinals at plus 400, and the Seattle Seahawks, 4th of 4 at plus 550. Now,
wow.
I understand that, it doesn't always play out that way. There are plenty of examples of odds being one thing and then it playing out that way when it comes to the division. But Seattle just won the Super Bowl, and they had the 4th best odds in their division to win the division. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's that's wild. That is wild. Indy Ben has responded. He says, I don't like Ballard, but at least they have a better roster and a QB at this point. Meanwhile, the next text next to him says, Indy Ben is delusional. The Colts are really going to rely on Daniel Jones again. We know what Jones is, not the flash in the pan we saw last season. Come on now. That's Jeff from Nebraska.
He's looked good in Indy and when we've seen him play. Now, coming off the injury, what does that look like? I don't know. But in Indianapolis, Daniel Jones has looked very good.
Yeah. Again, it's unfortunate. Achilles injuries mean more to some people than others. His style of play, you could see how that would be. It might take him like another season to get back to what he was. But no, look, it wasn't like smoke and mirrors for a couple weeks last year. It was good. He was good, and credit to him. It's not like he had some good stretches with the Giants. You just kind of thought, okay, he's kind of hit the ceiling and it's just not high enough. But there you go. This right now looks like it could end up being another one of those reclamation stories. Someone asked about J.J. McCarthy. Isn't he exactly what that is, that the Vikings are now getting Kyler Murray? Well, maybe, but J.J. McCarthy might also stink. And a lot of these guys just stink. Like a lot of them, the Titans just signed Mitch Trubisky. Like at some point it was like, okay, he's a backup. He had other chances to go to Pittsburgh and prove, he had chances to be a guy like that, and he just wasn't.
By the way, Daniel Jones coming in, Joe, at number 79 in the highest career NFL earnings. He has made $122 million to this point. So now you just add another contract, another $88 million on there. He's going to skyrocket up this list.
I hope like the legends of the NFL from like the 80s and 90s don't ever look at these lists.
I hope not either. Who's the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history? I have a guess. My guess is Trent Williams, but let's see if that is correct. That is correct. Trent Williams, number 17 all time, $218 million. There you go.
Okay. Good guess. Yeah, that makes sense. I figured either that or like there's got to be maybe some of these edges.
Von Miller, 19, 198.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Like Bruce Smith is like, wow, really?
Yeah. I would love to go down this list and like run across what's Jerry Rice's career earnings? He's nowhere on this list. So would love to know what that looks like.
What Kirk Cousins made in his tag year with the Commanders.
Yeah, exactly. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans and NFL free agency. We will get into the SEC tournament as well to close out the show. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We will get into the SEC tournament here in just a few minutes. SEC tournament scoreboard updates driven by Toyota. Be listening for updates throughout the day. Toyota, let's go places. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, put it on the board. We have our first mention, probably of 2026, of Arch Manning. Richard on the YouTube chat says, I could see the Colts bombing this year and falling into Arch Manning, and that's straight up Titans fans' luck. We had a lot of conversation about Arch Manning last year. It did not go well to start for Arch, although he did play well at the end of the year. I am interested to see the year that he has this year at Texas because the hype will be lessened than it was last year. I don't think there's any way to get around that. Can he actually, at the end of next season, live up to being the number 1 overall pick and do the Colts bomb, as Richard puts it, and end up with Arch Manning?
Yeah, he was straight up bad for a lot of last year and definitely played better at the end. Very good athlete. He's talented. I mean, he could be the number 1 overall pick. But at this point, and again, I am impressed with how he's handled, because some of this stuff it's an advantage to be part of that family in a lot of ways, but also there's things that come with it it was so out of control.
By the way, good point that Stilly texted me. The Colts don't have a first-round pick next year. They traded it away. So there's that.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
So don't worry about it, Titans fans. You'll be fine.
But regardless of whether we're talking about the Colts or whoever else, like if you've watched and paid attention to Arch Manning, are you sitting here like, oh my God, he is going to be the absolute first pick and someone's going to have a generational quarterback? I'm not. I think he's talented and he's hung in there, which I'm impressed by. He's getting better, but let's take all the information in and have an open mind, because I think he could be a good quarterback in the NFL. I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where I could say this and the next year he'll just be dominant and I'll be wrong, but I don't know that we're going to get to the point where he's going to be the Caleb Williams of his draft or the Trevor Lawrence of his draft.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, you've got him. You have Dante Moore, who's going to be in that mix. You'll have Jeremiah Smith, who everybody's going to be debating about taking number 1, regardless of what you need. Cam Coleman going to be in there too. A lot of interesting options in 2027, and that's why, as Charles has pointed out, going to be we've seen people, I guess, hesitant to move on from 2027 picks in some cases because they think that draft is going to be way better than the 2026 draft. So always interested to see how that plays out. Now, again, I would remind people, think about the conversation we were having about this quarterback class in this draft this time a year ago when talking about Cam Ward and all that, and think about how much different the quarterback class, once we finally get around to it here in 2026, actually looks like compared to what we thought heading into action last year. Like, where's Cade Klubnik getting drafted this year? Where's Garrett Nussmeier going this year? Like I don't know. Where's Drew Aller? Is Drew Aller going to get drafted? Like, he will at some point. But like I've seen some mocks that have Drew Aller in like the 6th round.
Yeah, and again, at different times, I would say Aller, Klubnik. We obviously know Beck previously. That were mentioned as a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, yeah, I wouldn't spend a high pick on any of those guys you just mentioned, but I don't know for sure they won't work out with a good situation. And I also do think still that Ty Simpson is going to end up being drafted pretty high in this draft.
Number 2? How high are we talking?
Well, no, not that high, but I would bet right now that he's top 15.
You want a hot take from me?
Yeah.
And I've thought this for weeks. I've thought this for a long time. I don't think I've said this yet. Ty Simpson will have a better NFL career than Fernando Mendoza. There's your hot take.
I don't think that's I think that's I'm trying to think of how hot that take is. That's like quick microwave.
Okay.
Microwave something real fast.
I think he's better than Fernando Mendoza is.
Yeah, like I could absolutely see it. Certainly they both move pretty well, but Simpson, I think there's a little bit higher level there.
I mean, look, Simpson wasn't good in the second half of last year. He's hurt. as you've detailed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hurt. Like when he was healthy, I mean, I thought he was going to win the Heisman Trophy. Like he was pretty darn good.
There's definitely people who would consider that a blazing hot take because we watched them play.
Sure.
We watched their teams play. And we watch Indiana
But how often do we do that where we compare the quarterbacks against each other when they're not playing each other?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, the bottom line is Indiana is just a way better football team than Alabama this year, which is such a mind-boggling thing sometimes to just say out loud.
Yep.
And know that that's reality. But it was. They completely eviscerated Alabama. And if you're an Alabama fan listening, man, that's just not a good reflection on Kalen DeBoer. I'm sorry, but like, there's just no way that should happen. But that's the case. And so I think that I think people probably would overreact to that as like a quarterback commentary, but I won't be surprised. I mean, to me, a lot of the answer to that is just where they both go and what they have. And the problem for Mendoza is where he's going has not been good. And it doesn't seem like Tom Brady's making it all that much better.
They got Max Crosby. That'd be good.
They do. They do. They've got Max. That's going to be interesting. Like, is that just now? I mean, how actively are they out there? Are they just like, please, someone give us something? I mean, you can't do that. Like, you have to get good value back. But like, they know they're not getting what they got from the Ravens. Are they? Like, will they trade him for like a first?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess my question is like, if his knee is truly fine, right? Like, if let's say whoever, like, he gets traded to the Chargers or whatever, and I'm just throwing a team out there. Like, if his knee is truly fine, well, then the value of where he went to Baltimore is about what it should be, right? But I'm with you. They're probably not going to get that again. But like, how is the knee actually messed up to the point where other teams, when they go through their process of giving a physical, are that concerned about it?
Yeah. If these teams are furious with the Ravens, and again, I'm on board with this. It seems like total BS. I mean, it just what it looks like, I think is what it is. But if that's the case, then why wouldn't teams be on the phone willing to give something at least close to that?
One texter says it's going to be a Manning to Harrison rollback. That's a strong contender. Like if Arch is the number one pick, Arizona will be a strong contender for that this year.
Yep.
I wonder what Arizona is going to do at 3. I've been trying to. They're a wild card this year.
Yeah.
Pick number 3, right before the Titans.
Yeah.
We've seen Edge, seen Jeremiah Love, even though I guess they just signed Algier, right? Yep. The running back from Atlanta.
Seen some tackles.
Offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Connor too, right? I know he got hurt this year, but he'll be back next year. Yeah.
Could go 3-headed monster at running back, Joe.
Yeah. OT is definitely on the board for them. Edge is definitely on the board for them. And yeah,
I mean,
trade out. They've traded out of that spot before, right? Didn't they have the Will Anderson?
They did.
Pick.
Mm-hmm.
And they've traded out of 3.
I mean, could they draft Ty Simpson?
Maybe.
Nobody's predicting that, but I mean, look, all it takes is one. Like, it would not rank in the top 10 of surprises to me, Joe, if, either the Jets at number 2 because they're the Jets, or the Cardinals because they fall in love with a quarterback in this, end up picking Ty Simpson, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, all the momentum suggests that that's not happening, but like, I wouldn't be stunned by that.
No, I wouldn't either. And it's on them certainly to do their homework. And I don't know, I assume like they'll have him for a visit. Again, he's dynamic and he's going to help himself when he talks to these teams. So no, I think that's a very reasonable possibility. I'm still going to, what's that?
It'd be great for the Titans. Get a couple quarterbacks go, regardless if it's the Jets or the Cardinals. Like if somebody, just bites the bullet and falls in love with Ty Simpson, that would be awesome for the Titans.
Of course, then it might make their choice tougher. And put them in a position to really blow this thing.
Good. I'd rather have some options of good players.
Yeah.
No, I think the bad scenario would be, just from my opinion, if the first 3 picks in some order are Mendoza, Reese, and Bailey. And then it's like, okay, well, you could go Jeremiah Love here, and that may be just the right way to go. Or you could take Sonny Styles, or you could take Ruben Bain, and then you're worried about the arm length and all this other stuff. You take Carnell Tate, but you're worried about, is he fast enough? Like, can he actually run anymore? You know, the 4.53. Some people think he may not even be able to get off the line of scrimmage anymore. So there's that. I'd like to have Bailey and Love available. That's really heading into the draft what I'm hoping for the Titans. Have those two available.
Yeah. But of course, for them, it just may be one of them that they care about. You know, they may be resolved on either one, and then it's devastating if the one that they wanted is gone. I don't think Love will be gone.
I don't think he will either.
Bailey could be gone.
I'll tell you, the phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Doug to the program. Doug, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, are teams allowed to look at Crosby before they make the trade? I mean, and then figure out what kind of compensation they want to give to the Raiders, or is that off limits?
Thank you for the call. I mean, there's communication that takes place. You know, I think he's talking medically here. Like there's communication that takes place between the doctors, the Raiders training staff, and the Ravens training staff. And then ultimately, Joe, you get him in your building. That's the purpose of getting him in the building. And you go through the physical process. So, I mean, do they actually get their hands on him before they make the trade? No. But you get information that's shared there. And again, Diana Rossini put it out there yesterday. The Ravens were well aware of where he was in the recovery process coming off the surgery that he had with the meniscus. So just makes the whole thing all the more stranger.
Yeah. So to answer the question, no, ultimately there's still some level of once you get your hands on the player, then you can do, stuff. And hey, if you just don't want to make the trade anymore, you can just go ahead and, say whatever you want, I guess. But yeah, obviously, and this is where, medical people from teams typically you think are sharing accurate information with each other. I mean, you'd really have a problem in this league if that wasn't the case.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to coming up next. Plus, the Vols in action today in the SEC tournament. We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Joe, the Vols in action today in the SEC tournament coming up. Pete Thamel putting it out there this morning that, according to his sources, Nate Ament expected to play today against Auburn. So he said there's no expectation for exactly how many minutes he's going to play, but the expectation is that he is going to play today against Auburn. So you got Tennessee and Auburn coming up this afternoon. If the Vols win, they'll be taking on Vanderbilt tomorrow, so that could be interesting. But what do you make of that news, Joe? We talked about it to begin the show with Ament apparently getting back in there today for Tennessee.
Well, I can't imagine that Tennessee is messing around with anything that's going to hurt him in the NCAA tournament. So I think it's really good news just on his health. And remember, you go back to the last couple of regular season games, Rick Barnes said that if it were up to him, he would have played. You know, if it were up to Nate, he would have played. And also Rick said that basically if it was an NCAA tournament game or a big, like, he would have played. So I think that's good news. It'll be interesting to see if he's limited, you know, how much he plays. I would assume he looks like Nate Ament. And you know, people who were there covering their practice yesterday, I talked to Ryan Shumpert at the arena yesterday, and he said, you know, he was doing 5-on-5. He looked good. So, I mean, that's good news for Tennessee. Obviously you don't want to do anything to jeopardize the NCAA tournament. And this isn't really a high stakes weekend for Tennessee. I think certainly you want to trend toward playing your best basketball. Having your most talented player on the floor would help that. You want some of these guys who are coming on a little bit, Evans, Estrella, to keep playing well and develop depth. I mean, the Vols could if they win the tournament, or you know, if they get a win over Florida in this tournament, I think they could be a top 4 seed. But I mean, the 4 and the 5 in this tournament, the NCAA tournament, there's really not that much difference. Like, they're probably playing each other in the round of 32, and then the winner's probably going to get the 1 seed in the Sweet 16. You know, so it doesn't. I mean, you play a 13 in the first round as opposed to a 12, so there's a benefit there, but it's not a huge difference. So to me, this tournament is about Tennessee just trying to get to its best basketball and get momentum. And if they win today, a chance to have a little rubber match and settle it between Tennessee and Vanderbilt, which would be a lot of fun tomorrow.
What do we think of the matchup against Auburn? I mean, you know, Auburn has been up and down all year long. Stephen Pearl was talking yesterday about how Tennessee is going to challenge your manhood out there. So interested to see how that goes today and what that looks like. Apparently some Auburn players not a huge fan of Tennessee and what happened the last time that they played. So maybe a little chippiness coming today between Tennessee and Auburn.
I'm trying to remember what happened.
I just think that they felt like they got punked. So
yeah. Well, they
could be a little bit of between the whistle stuff going on today.
Yeah, it could be. I think for them, it's Tennessee's a dominant rebounding team, and Auburn teams like that have really kicked Auburn's butt. So I think you're right. Maybe something like that could be, but I think it's more just like, this is a game where if you're not physical and you're not intentional about it, like they're going to kill you on the glass, you know? So yeah, Auburn is, it was an incredible day yesterday for Auburn. They looked terrible. It looked like they were going to lose for a lot of the day to Mississippi State, and they came back, got the win. They played better defense than they've been playing. They're talented, but Tennessee is a better team. You know, Auburn probably gets into the tournament if they win today. The stakes are really higher for them. They might get in anyway, which I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes, but the reality of this bubble, especially yesterday, was just carnage across. But Indiana just gets blown out by Northwestern in a game it needs to win to get in the tournament. Like Cincinnati, like there's a lot of teams that lost. So Auburn might get in even if they lose today. If they win today, I probably will have them in my final bracket. So the stakes are higher for them. Does that matter? You know, I don't know.
We'll find out.
You know, the thing about these tournaments is we look at things from a fan perspective about how motivated a team is, but these are competitors. You know, once you get on that court in front of 12,000 people or whatever, you want to win.
No doubt. That's going to do it for us today here on the program. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.